What if I told you you could pay off your debt years faster and you wouldn't even have to ask your boss for a pay raise because you won't need a pay raise to do it? Now, I had crushing debt. I mean, crushing debt. And when I looked at how long it was going to take to pay it off, it was probably, I'm trying to remember exactly, but about 30 years to pay this debt off. And I mean, that was crushing. And really there was no extra money left at the end of the day to pay for anything else, to enjoy life, to do anything, because the debt was so crushing. I've been there, I've done that, and I want to share with you how I got rid of my debt, not in 30 years, but in only 5. Now, 5 may seem like a long time, but 5 years was so much faster than waiting 30 years of misery trying to get rid of this debt. So I'm going to share with you how I did it in 5, and if you have less debt than me, you can probably do it in far fewer years than I did it. So let's get into this. Let me share with you the 5 methods that I know of to do it, and I'll share with you exactly what I did to do it. So debt doesn't have to control your life. You can take control of your finances and manage that debt and get rid of it. Now, there are 2 big methods that you've probably heard of to pay down debt really fast. One is called the avalanche method. The avalanche method is you take your debt with the highest interest rate and pay that off quickly, while paying minimums on everything else. The second method that you probably have heard of is called the debt snowball. Much like the debt avalanche, maybe they both use snow themes for a reason, but the debt snowball method takes the smallest debt that you owe money to and you pay that off first while paying minimums on everything else. So those are 2 methods. We're going to get more in detail in a minute on those, but let me explain some other methods that are out there. Okay, the second method that's really common is debt consolidation. Now, debt consolidation is you move all of your debts down into one debt at a smaller interest rate so that you can make more progress on it and the interest doesn't do as much damage to you as when you have it on high interest credit cards or revolving accounts or things like that. So debt consolidation can really help you get your payment to have more impact on the actual debt instead of just on interest. Debt consolidation can be dangerous for you because there are so many fake consolidation companies out there that prey on people in debt looking to get out of debt. But really, these debt consolidations often don't help. The other problem with debt consolidation is a lot of times what happens is you get all of your debt in one big giant package, but now it looks extremely overwhelming, and as you're trying to pay it down, it looks like you make no progress. So eventually you give up. I really don't recommend debt consolidation, but it is one of the options out there. Strategy number 3 that people use, and this can be a great strategy. Strategy number 3 is to make bi-weekly payments on all of your debts. Instead of paying your balance once a month, what you do is you divide that by 2 and pay that amount every other week. And what happens with this method is, instead of making only 12 payments in a year, by paying half of that balance every other week, you actually make a full extra month's worth of payments throughout the course of the year, because not every month is exactly 2 payments. Some months you'll actually make an extra payment, and this will happen twice a year, which will give you 13 total payments instead of just 12. Another way to cut debt fast is to look at what your expenses really are. A lot of times we have streaming services, lots of them that we don't need, or we find that when we look through our bank statement, we're wasting money we didn't realize we are wasting. So cut down on those subscriptions, cut down on the waste, find out what that waste is, what the extras are that you don't need to be paying for. Stop those subscriptions, stop those things that are wasting money, then take that money that you are paying towards those subscriptions and pay it towards the debt that you're trying to eliminate. Strategy number 5 is not to get a pay raise, but to start a small side hustle. And a side hustle can be something you enjoy, but a side hustle will earn you extra cash, and you can take that cash and throw it at that debt to make that debt disappear. So those are the 5 strategies. Now let's go back to avalanche and snowball, because this is actually how I did it, and I believe this is the most effective way to do it. So avalanche isn't my favorite because what you're doing is you're tackling the highest interest rate, which may also be a large debt. And what happens is it seems to take forever with next to no progress, and it makes you want to give up. So I don't really like avalanche, but the debt snowball, I really love this method, and this is what I did. So the way the debt snowball works, and the reason it works, is what you do is you list all of your debts from smallest amount owed to largest amount owed, and it completely ignore the interest rates. Now I know this sounds illogical, but work with me here for a minute. Think through this. So what you do is you pay the minimum amount due for every debt you owe, nothing extra, except for the debt that is the smallest. So let's just say I have a credit card that I owe $2,500 on, and I owe more than that to everything else. So what I do is I pay minimums on everything else, and then on that credit card that I only owe $2,500 to, I pay a little bit of extra. Whether I've canceled subscriptions or have $5 extra at the end of the month, whatever it is, every little amount matters. You pay that little amount extra to that one debt, and you work until that debt is completely eliminated. What happens is this small debt gets paid off fairly quickly. And by paying it off fairly quickly, you can celebrate and see that win, that progress you've made. You've eliminated a debt. And this is amazing. It really gives you encouragement to continue on in the process. So now what you do is the amount that you were paying towards that small debt, you start applying that to the next one on the list in addition to what you were paying on that one before. So maybe the next one on the list, I was paying a minimum of $25 a month. For the debt I was eliminating, I might have been paying $50 a month. So now I've got 50 and 25 to start applying to that next debt in line. Well, by having a little bit more, that snowball has built a little bit, and I can pay that one down and get rid of it. Now I get another win. And I do this again. The amount that I was paying to that debt, plus what I was paying the minimum on the next one in line is, I start paying that to that next one in line, and eventually that one gets eliminated. For some reason, the logic and math here doesn't work, because when we look at it, it's 30 years to pay these off, 20 years to pay these off, whatever it is. But when you start working the debt snowball, all of a sudden things start adding up really fast and you start gaining a lot of momentum. Sometimes you also come into some extra cash, or your side hustle paid off better than you thought, and you're very encouraged to put that towards that small debt and eliminate another one. These small wins are really what help keep you going and help you make that progress to pay these debts off and get rid of them fast. So this is how I did it. I did it with the debt snowball, and I just kept chipping away at it. And I think actually it was like 4 years and 9 months or whatever it was. It didn't even take me a full 5 years to get rid of some crushing debt. So I highly encourage you to give this a try. If you've got crushing debt, just try the debt snowball. It worked for me. I know it can work for you. You just stick with it and start paying off those debts as quick as you can. And before you know it, they'll be gone and you'll be free of debt. And let me tell you, financial freedom is absolutely life-changing. So I'd love to hear from you what you thought about this idea, what you need help with, or anything that you may have a question on. I'd be happy to help you through whatever it is you're working on. Also, if you're looking for a side hustle to make some more money to get rid of your debt fast, I've got a bunch of videos about side hustles, helping you choose a side hustle that might be excellent for you to help you find extra cash. Whether you're trying to pay off debt or just have more money, a side hustle might be a great way to go. And often when you work a side hustle, you can also end up turning your side hustle into a full-time job that you love. So go ahead and check those videos out as well. I know there's something there that you will enjoy. Hey, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.